Hey, this is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the EVERBLACK Podcast.
Hey, humans, Carl, this is Odorous from Guam.
I'm going to battle Fear Factory.
This is George Corey from Fisher.
This is Jazz from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Mike Nick from Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is Bruce.
This is Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is Gary Bree from Sepultura. You're listening to EVERBLACK Podcast.
Before we go into this episode, we need to give a shout out to our show supporters, Blacklight Art Design, who are our go-to for all our screen printing needs. Check them out at blacklightad.com.au. RW Promotion, who are the best in the biz for all your promotional printing needs like stickers, flyers, banners, badges, and more. Go order yours through rwpromotion.com.au. The brutal occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts, hoodies, hats to beanies and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code EVERBLACK for 20% off your order. Also, Lumberpunks Axe Throwing Club, who have venues on the Gold Coast, Brisbane and Perth and will be reopening very soon. Put in the code EVERBLACK to get 10% off your booking at lumberpunks.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the EVERBLACK Podcast through Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and Facebook, and check out all our articles at everblackmedia.com. All right, on with the show. On this episode of the EVERBLACK Podcast, I'm joined by my good buddy Mick Jeffery from Aversions Crown, who are about to release one of the heaviest albums of the year, Hell Will Come For Us All, out on June 12th through Nuclear Blast. Now, if you like their last album, Xenocide, then you're going to really dig this one as well, and it really showcases the band's evolution as songwriters, and their new vocalist, Tyler Miller, is just absolutely savage on this thing. It's really a big step up for the guys, and I've been really cranking it and loving it over the last week. You can pre-order your copy now. Here's a little bit of a taste before we go into the interview. This song is called Born in the Gutter. Turn it up to 11, horns high. Enjoy, people. Mick, thanks for joining us on the show, man. How's everything going in your neck of the woods?
Going good. Yeah, just back at home for a while and just kind of getting excited to finally put this album out.
Well, man, of course, that new album is an absolute banger, and it's the new Aversions Crown album, Hell Comes For Us All, and that's out on June 12th through Nuclear Blast. And I think it's got my favorite stank face riff part section of any release this year, and that's Born in the Gutter, right, hands down, right when he, screams Born in the Gutter, and it just drops. Man, yeah. Heaviest of the year. Well done.
Definitely. Stank face riff, sure. That's sick.
I've been absolutely loving this album, man. And of course, I've got to say, your new frontman, Tyler, is an absolute beast. How did you find him?
Yeah, we sort of found ourselves in a position where we needed a fill-in vocalist a while ago, and we literally just put the feelers out around through certain avenues, and he was singing for a band called The Guild, who are based out of Knoxville, Tennessee, which is pretty far away from Brisbane, Australia. But we loved what he was doing with his voice with that band, and we were kind of curious what he would sound like over an Aversion song. So we hit him up just with sort of an instrumental of one of the older tracks and just said, hey man, this is kind of the deal. If you're maybe interested in sort of jumping on and helping us out for a tour, maybe if you could record one of these songs for us so we can hear how it would sound. And he kind of got back to us within a few hours, I think it was. He was just super keen, and he did an awesome job on it. And so we thought, all right, well, this he's got a good voice, let's maybe give him a go. And so he ended up, he'd never even been out of America, or he hadn't barely sort of left his kind of area much. He'd done a little bit of touring, but not a great deal. And so we essentially just plucked him out of Knoxville and threw him in a tour bus in Germany and told him he was going to be singing a headlining tour around Europe for a month. So, he killed it on the tour, and he was a great dude. We all got on really well, and it just kind of naturally progressed from there.
That's crazy, man. And how did you meet him in the first place with the band? Like, did you know his band? Did you tour with them or play with them, the Guild?
No, we literally met him at the airport in Frankfurt in Germany, and just said, "Hey, Tyler, we hope that you're a good guy, and we hope that you can do a good job of these shows." So it was a bit of a gamble for everyone, I guess, but it paid off, and it was actually a really enjoyable experience.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And of course, it's been about 4 years since your last album, Xenocide?
Yeah, when was that? 2017. So whatever, 3-4 years.
Yeah, man.
It's been a while.
It has been. And you've done, a shit ton of touring in between that, and you've just kept yourself really busy. Where did your adventure take you to get you to this point of the new album?
Yeah, well, like you said, we've been touring pretty hard out since the last one came out. So we've toured, Europe and America multiple times. We've done Japan, we've done Australia. And I guess as we were touring, the music for this album was being written. So it wasn't like we just kind of sat down and had a writing session and thought, let's write a new album. There was just constant material being written throughout that whole time. So when it came down to picking the material for this album, we had a fair bit of stuff to kind of sift through, and we were able to sort of just select the stuff that we thought really worked together as an album's worth of songs, and stuff had been written in different times and in different headspaces and stuff. So we felt like there was different vibes on a lot of the songs too, and they didn't kind of all sound like they were written at the same time or whatever. So it felt like it was the right time to put this together. Obviously, the reason it did take a bit longer to get this one out was because of the change of vocalist, and it wasn't something we wanted to rush into. It was something we wanted to make sure we'd made the right decision, and didn't really want to find ourselves in the same position again, down the track. So, we kind of made sure we were all confident with the decision we'd made before we went ahead and recorded the album.
And man, as I said before, it's an absolute banger. Like, you guys have really done a kick-ass job with this album. It's come out strong.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. And it's different too. Like, was there anything that, while you're out there in the big wide world, that you'd seen or experienced that had influenced the direction of this album?
I mean, definitely from touring, seeing what songs that we were playing live went over better with the crowds, and parts of songs that the crowds would really respond well to, and parts that maybe just kind of flew over people's heads in the live setting. So we kind of took all of that on board with the writing, and tried to imagine how this would sound in a live setting, as well as just being something that works well on record, because sometimes things can be a bit complicated and convoluted when you play it live, and it doesn't kind of get received the way you expect it to. And then other parts that you think, oh, maybe that's just a bit of a throwaway section of a song, people might really respond well to it, and there's like a simplified lyric or a hook that people can kind of grab onto, and every night you just kind of see people knowing that part of a song. So you definitely take all of that on board, and that, I think that's just any band who sort of tours a lot, and you kind of just can't help but be influenced by seeing what your crowd, and also watching other bands and seeing what their crowds respond well to, and you just take all that on board when you write, I think.
So did you test run any of these while you're out on the road? Is that what you mean?
No, we didn't. It was more just sort of taking stuff from previous songs that we thought, all right, well, that song always goes down well, or another song that we'd written on the previous album that we thought, oh, this will be a banger when we play it live, and maybe it just didn't kind of have the same feel that we thought it would. So just focusing more on the aspects of previous songs we'd written that had sort of translated well to the live setting. But as a rule, we generally don't, we don't play any of our new songs live until a recorded version is out. And that's because of the way people often, which is great, people like to come to the shows and film them on their phones and all that kind of stuff. But if that's the first impression, it's as an iPhone 3 version of us playing from a mosh pit. It's not really the way we want people to hear the song for the first time. So we'd rather release the real version and then play it live after that.
That makes sense. And I think another thing that you guys do very well is create an experience with your use of, atmospheric samples, to tell, you sort of tell a story. Each album so far, it's like world building in a way, especially with the last couple. Do you usually use those as a base to, a jumping off point? But while you're writing, do you write around the samples? I guess what I'm trying to say.
Not necessarily. They are often sort of added in just to kind of add something to the song. So sometimes we may have a sample, that's kind of written as an idea, or you might hear something and then a song is based off it. But quite often a lot of those sort of sounds and samples are sort of added in later on to kind of enhance the music that's already written.
It's very theatrical in a lot of ways. And each album seems, especially the last three seem to have like a science fiction type theme to them, and where this one seems to take a totally different direction. Are you working in trilogies in a way, in story wise, or do they connect?
We're not sort of working in any kind of trilogy formation or anything. It's more, it was time just to change. Like, the band had done a certain thing for a long time. The band has been around for many years, and this is our fourth release. And also the fact that we've changed the vocalist and the lyricist of the band. So we didn't really want to kind of just be rehashing the same themes and lyrics and stuff that we'd already done. We wanted something new, and we also wanted our new singer Tyler to be able to express himself in the way he wanted, as well as us saying, all right, well, we want you to write an album of alien songs. We kind of said, look, we want to keep some of the sci-fi themes in the lyrics like we've previously done, but we want you to put your spin on it, and we also want to see what else you can bring to the table in terms of lyrics and content and that sort of stuff. So he did write a few. I think there's a 4-song sort of story that runs through 4 of the tracks on the album, which is like a sci-fi kind of theme. And there are a few sort of hints in the last track, The Final Judgment, that kind of, touch on, like you said, like working, relating back to the previous album. So there are a few sort of little lyrics and clues in that final song that do kind of go back to Tyrant and Xenocide, and people who kind of read the lyrics will probably pick up on those little things. But as far as, moving forward, we sort of wanted to, like I said, explore different ideas, and I think that's a perfect time for us to do it with a new frontman in the band.
Absolutely. And you worked with Matt. I see you having a cold one too. Cheers, bud. Awesome, man. Well, you work with Matt Shorter from RTDStudios on the guitars, and did the drums with him at Heliport Studios, I believe. That dude is he's awesome, and he's an absolute master at what he does. How was it working with Matt?
It was awesome, yeah. I've worked with Matt previously, but not for quite a while. I did some recording with an old band I was in, and this is probably going back to maybe 2008 or something, and he was sort of just working out of a little garage he'd done up back then, and so now he's kind of got access to a lot more stuff, but even back then and even more so now, he's a real kind of perfectionist with the way he pushes takes out of you and stuff like that. So he really strives to get the best performance out of you, and if it's not a good enough take, you got to do it again and again, and which is good. I like feeling after you've recorded that you hear it back and go, well, that was the best I could have done. Like, you don't want to hear it back and go, oh man, I could have done that one a bit better or something like that. You really want to have someone there that's pushing you to work your hardest, and he did that. He worked really well with Will as well, so they sort of collaborated with a lot of the way, you know, the mics and on the drums were set up and all that kind of stuff, so that when it was sent over to Will for the mix, he had everything in place the way he likes to work with it. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable recording experience for us.
That's awesome. He did show me that there was one point that he must have worked you really hard that you'd crashed out.
Yeah. The day we did guitars, I think it was like Australia Day or something like that, and I'd just been working. Like, that was my first day I'd had off in, you know, so long, and I remember just getting up there. I had to leave because we did it on the Sunshine Coast, and and especially public holiday, we thought the traffic was just going to be an absolute nightmare. So I left home at something like 3:30 in the morning or something ridiculous in case the traffic was bad. So, and I think I got up to his house way too early and just kind of slept in the car for a couple of hours until he woke up. And I had a couple of naps during the day when Chris was tracking his parts and stuff. But it was a long day of tracking, but we got it done. And yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it.
That's
well
it.
Done.
Hey, it made it look like you had just been tracking for like 3 days straight. He hadn't let you out.
He's a work machine.
Yeah. And of course, the album cover is awesome too. Who came up with the concept for that one?
Yeah, so we got the artwork done by a guy called Ellerin Cantor, who's done a bunch of other really cool artworks for different other bands and album covers and that sort of stuff. So when we were looking at options for doing this one, we wanted to do something different to what we'd done on the previous albums, which the last 3 albums had all had a real digital, really detailed sci-fi kind of concept artwork, which I think they're all really cool pieces of art and really suited those albums. But this time it was time to change something. So we decided we wanted a bit more of a classic metal, for lack of a better term, album cover, and something that was maybe less digital and a bit more raw and organic looking art. So yeah, his style is more of an actual painting style. So we sort of we approached him, and we known he'd been doing a lot of stuff for other bands, but we kind of felt that what we had to offer was a really different kind of concept to the stuff he'd been doing for other bands. So yeah, he was excited to work on it, and he started sending back some sort of composition sketches and all that kind of idea to give us an idea of where his head was at after we gave him some guidelines, which were fairly sort of broad, I guess. We don't really like giving too much direction to an artist like that. They're, you know, obviously very professional and have a lot more sort of an idea of how to compose artwork than we do. So we give him some ideas, some lyrics and overall themes. And yeah, as he started sending back these sketches, we were just like, oh wow, he really gets it. And he ended up coming up with a really cool piece of art, I think. And it's going to look super cool on one of those vinyls when we get those.
Shirts and patches, all the merch. Did he hear the stuff first? Did you like send him snippets of tracks to sort of help guiding him as well?
I honestly can't remember if we did, because I don't think we had any recorded vocals on the music when we were doing the artwork. I think we'd only tracked the instrumental stuff at that point. So we may have sent him something, but at the same time, we may not have as well, because we didn't have any sort of vocals tracked yet. So I can't remember, to be honest.
And I mean, you worked with Third Eye Visuals for the video for Born the Gutter and Soil. Both look incredible. How was it collaborating with them on those?
Yeah, well, Third Eye Visuals is essentially one dude, Ben, and so he's a total legend. He's sort of been around the Brisbane scene for a while, and he's sort of gotten really well known after doing a bunch of stuff with Parkway Drive, I think. Toured with them for a time and did a lot of cool stuff and a lot of other bands. And so, we wanted to do something with him for a while, and the timing just kind of worked out. We had a very small window to get a whole bunch of content created with him, because we had to bring Tyler over from America. And so, we brought him over to get a whole bunch of content done for the album. And it was pretty fortunate we did that before the tour. We were almost thinking about doing all this stuff while we were on the tour in America, but that ended up getting cancelled after one show. So it was, and if we'd waited, we wouldn't have been able to get any of this content created. So pretty fortunate we got the clips done. We did a third clip, which is yet to be released. And Ben was so good to work with. He's super professional. He's got a really great vision. He really understands what the vision of each clip was, and brought heaps of cool ideas. And once again, really pushed us to get the best takes out of everyone for every clip and every shot we did. And once again, just a really enjoyable experience working with him.
So I actually didn't know that. You were actually over there, played a show when all this was going down. Is that right?
Yeah, so we were supposed to be on tour for 6 weeks. So we had a tour with, it was with Die Hard Is Murder, Fit for an Autopsy, Enterprise Earth, and a band called Unmizir from Iceland. So we all flew over to the United States. So the tour was scheduled to start on the 12th of March. So we got there on the evening of, I think, the 9th, which was the Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, we had to sort of get everything ready. So, doing all the running around, getting the merch and the backline and the vehicle and all that kind of stuff. And on the Tuesday, obviously things had been a bit crazy back in Australia with the pandemic, with the panic buying and stuff like that. But there was not really any kind of real fear of the actual pandemic kicking off. It was more just people panic buying and that kind of stuff when we left. And so we weren't really concerned about it, to be honest. We went to Walmart and it was pretty crazy in there. Like, you couldn't even buy a single bottle of water. But we were thinking, right, well, if Australia's crazy, America's always going to be crazier. So that's pretty standard. So we did 2 days in New Jersey, and we were just kind of getting ready, had a bit of a rehearsal. Wednesday night, we're hanging out with Die Hard and Fit, and we kind of all, almost joking about it, going, oh, imagine if the show got cancelled or because of this crazy thing. And then when was that? So Thursday morning of the first show, we were all heading to Philadelphia, and we hear word that Seattle might be cancelled. And we think, all right, well, that's pretty crazy, but, if a show is cancelled, I guess it's not the end of the world. We get to the venue and, it's confirmed Seattle's cancelled. And that was about 2:00. And then by the time doors opened at 6:00, the tour manager told us, he said, boys, just letting you know, the first week of shows, all the venues have cancelled. So we don't know what we're going to do for the first week, but we'll keep you posted. And then we were due to go on stage around 8:30. We're just about to walk out, and the tour manager grabs us and goes, boys, this is going to be the last show of tour. As soon as you're finished, you have to pack up all your stuff. We have to get your merch out. We have to get you back to New Jersey so we can try and get you flights back to Australia, because the whole country is just about to go into lockdown. So, it was kind of going from the excitement of the first show of a big tour to, holy shit, we have to get out of this country. Are we even going to be able to get back to Australia? It was a pretty weird vibe. We didn't sort of let the crowd know anything about what was going on at the time. We just kind of got out there, did the job, played a show. I think we played quite well considering, and that was it. We got out of there. We drove back to Jersey. By the time we'd sort of got back there and sorted out all the gear and stuff, it was about 5 a.m. Had to get up again about 8:00 to go and take the van back. And we ended up being able to get a flight home from New York that day on the Friday, and we were back home Sunday morning in Australia before any of the crazy restrictions and stuff kicked in later on that day. So we missed all that by a few hours too. So, it was a pretty wild week of my life, but you know, the things I can take out of it that are positive is that everyone was healthy. We all got home safe, and you know, we can sort of carry on with it down the track. But you know, it was a huge bummer, big financial loss for the band. But you know, what can you do? You have to just kind of roll with the punches, and yeah. So we hope to be able to get back on track at some point. But yeah, for now, we're just looking forward to the album release.
Glad you guys are all safe and you made it home, because that would have
Sure.
been terrifying, man. Like, everyone's watching it unfold. So, yeah, glad you got back home in time. And, of course, I mean, this year, I believe, marks 10 years of the band. Is that right?
Yeah, 10 or 11 years, something like that. But yeah, it'd be at least 10 years, I think, yeah.
Man. So, I mean, looking back at all that time, you know, your journey to get to this point, what's the biggest lesson that you've learnt as a musician and touring and everything like that? What kind of wisdom?
Always expect the unexpected. I mean, always, you know, prepare for the worst, but expect the best as well.
Yeah.
So many things you can learn from it, but I think overall you got to kind of just keep positive and enjoy what you're doing, because you know, it's, especially being in a band from Australia that plays extreme music, it's never going to be a big paycheck or anything like that. It's you got to do it for the love of it, and as soon as that's gone, if you're not loving doing it, because there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of not glamorous parts of being in a band. There's a lot of traveling and waiting around, not sleeping, not eating, missing out on a lot of things back home and stuff like that can kind of grind you down if you're not really loving what you're doing. So I think the most important thing is you just have to love playing music. You have to love everything about the lifestyle, and if you do that, you're gonna have a great time. And even when unfortunate circumstances happen, you'll bounce back, and you know, there's something good will always come from it later on. So that'd be my words of wisdom.
Very well said, brother. That's awesome. And, of course, what's next for you guys? I know it's, well, hard to sort of really say, but have you started sort of trying to make slow plans for after the release of this? And, you know, you mentioned there's a new clip that you're releasing, and maybe some shows in the new year. Is that on the cards?
Yeah, so we had an Australian tour that was, I think, supposed to start maybe even this week or maybe next week, but yeah, that's been rescheduled for December at this point. So yeah, all the shows have now been announced and locked in for December. The tickets are on sale for that. So that's a really cool lineup with Die Artist Murder, Dying Fetus, Enterprise Earth,
That's right.
Fit for an Audience. So yeah, tickets are on sale for that now. So as far as we know, that's all going ahead, and we're looking forward to that, even though it's a few months away now, but you know, it'll come around. So you know, time sort of creeps up on you pretty quick. So hopefully that's kind of the kickstart of our touring cycle for this record. And yeah, we had quite a lot of stuff lined up to tour and promote it that is no longer happening as planned. So yeah, we're kind of just sort of in limbo with that, and waiting to see how everything pans out in different countries and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it might be a little while till things get back to normal. So in the meantime, we're just sort of staying productive. There's been a fair bit of behind the scenes stuff to get ready for the album release, but even still, there's still new music being worked on. There's always something happening. So the band never, you know, even if it might not look like there's anything happening on social media, there's always stuff going on. So yeah, we've got yeah, we'll have things in place for, you know, when it's time to figure out what the next step is after the release.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for hanging on the show, dude. Having a beer. What do you got?
Oh, yeah.
What are you having?
Tonight I got a 4 Pines Pacific Ale.
Yeah, nice. I'm having a Waka Changi.
Ah, very good.
Have you ever had one?
No, I think I saw them at Dan Murphy's though on the yeah, they had like a display of them the other day, I think. They looked all right.
Chips, but they're awesome. It's my favorite drop.
Yeah, sick. I had a beer this morning as well. At about 10 o'clock, I had an interview with Matt, the singer of Cryptopsy, and his podcast is craft beers and metal. So I was kind of he twisted my arm into having a beer with him. So yeah,
it's mid-morning. It's not too early for us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, man. Well, of course, the new Aversions Crown album, Hell Comes For Us All, is out on June 12. Take care, bro, and I'll see you probably around the coast sometime soon. And if not,
yeah.
cheers, brother.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.